Hello, welcome to Liquidity Matters. This is the podcast for innovation of reshaping the financial landscape. And I'm your host, Zubair Quazi, CEO and co founder of Liquid Capital. And in today's episode, we'll be diving deep into evolution of digital securities, Web3, and many other items in that space that has impacted the financial services industry. I'm very honored to be joined by crypto's one of the crypto's most influential individual and a leader in the Web3 space, the creator of Litecoin, Charlie Lee. Charlie has developed the Litecoin in 2011 and has been working at Google, Coinbase, and a few other places. Currently, he's a director of LiteCoin Foundation and also investor and advisor for Liquid Capital. So welcome, Charlie. Pleasure to have you here.
Thanks for having me, Zubair.
So welcome. So first of all, let's go a little bit back in time. What really excited you to get into crypto?
Um, sure. I'm sure some of you already know who I am and have heard of my story, but I'll go through it again. So I got into Bitcoin um, in 2011. That's like a century ago in crypto time. Um, yeah, I first found out about Bitcoin. I read the white paper, really got hooked. Um, Bought my first Bitcoin when it was $30, and then proceeded to watch it drop 90% in value, all the way to about $2, $2.50. Um, but I wasn't discouraged because I saw the potential of Bitcoin and really kind of, yeah, saw the future of how it can reshape our financial industry. So, and in late 2011, I created Litecoin kind of just for fun, and it kind of took off and became a lot more successful than I ever expected. Yeah, it's been a wild ride in terms of just the whole space, and obviously the price is a huge um, kind of roller coaster, as we all know.
Yep. Yep. I mean, that's a very incredible journey and vision to start at that time. But let's see. So where do you position yourself right now? And fast forward a little bit. You founded Litecoin Foundation and you're involved with it. So, what are the things you're working on? What do you see things are going from here point on?
Yeah, so I yeah, the Litecoin Foundation was created in 2016, 2017 timeframe. Um, I'm focused on that right now. I was at Coinbase. When was it? 2013, I think, when I joined. I was there for 4 years, left in 2017, and now I'm focused on Litecoin. Um, yeah, so the foundation is we're working on supporting like adoption of Litecoin, um, pushing for working on development of Litecoin and just more awareness of crypto in general. And yeah, currently we're focused on um, a feature called MWeb on Litecoin, which gives Litecoin more fungibility and privacy. And I think this is something that is really needed in this space.
That is correct. That is very very correct. So, just to piggyback on that one, so we are seeing this emergence of digital securities, the usage of blockchain, and at the same time, there are negative perceptions about these technologies as well, for right or wrong reasons. But these are great technologies that are that how the way we see that is might be reshaping the entire financial services industry in the future. So what's your take? How you seeing this adoption and the negative perceptions are going to be handled?
What kind of negative perceptions are you referring to?
Oh, so the blockchain. So as we talk to different potential customers, people try to stay away from blockchain. They believe that blockchain is not secured or is not going to be doesn't do what it's supposed to do. So in general, there is a perception about DeFi itself, not the technology.
Yeah, I guess there's a few things that are concerning people. One is securing the coins, right? If you're invested in Bitcoin and you get hacked, you can lose all your money. Or if like an exchange gets hacked, that's one thing that's been dominating, well, that's been on and off in kind of in the industry, where you hear big exchanges. Initially, when I first got into the space, Mt. Gox was the largest exchange that got hacked, or not necessarily got hacked, but they screwed up and lost like hundreds of thousands of bitcoins, and everyone lost their money. This whole like bankruptcy thing is still in process. Yeah, and then there's various exchanges getting hacked over the years, so that's always a concern, I think. But over time, I think there will be less and less. I think these platforms will become better at securing coins for users. And as we see, like with like the ETFs coming into the space,
Yeah.
they're using a lot of them are using Coinbase, which has really proven a good proven track record of being able to secure coins. So people, I think it'll take some time for people to become more comfortable with the fact that their coins are safe and won't just easily get hacked or stolen. That's one thing. The other is like you mentioned, DeFi.
Yeah.
DeFi is a kind of a crypto wild west where um, uh, smart contracts get hacked every day, right? People lose money. So that's something that kind of will get fleshed out over time as more people get kind of comfortable writing secure decentralized applications, and where it won't easily get hacked. So that's going to take some time too for that space to mature and become more secure.
Absolutely. So saying that, but the we are seeing that the regulated industry in this case, bigger banks and some other financial services company are adopting uh, blockchain and blockchain for transferring money between banks in between their branches, and also some kind of implementation around compliance. So do you think that these banks or these bigger regulated industries have already seen the benefits of it and they're trying to invest in it as a future?
Um, so yeah, I mean ETFs definitely help with this, right? So in terms of people being comfortable or banks being comfortable with crypto, having a large ETF like supported by like BlackRock or Fidelity is a huge kind of stamp of approval by the current, like the financial industry, where it also makes it very easy for people to get into this new asset class, right? So
Yeah.
um, previously, before ETFs, it's a lot harder for anyone to buy and hold cryptocurrency, Bitcoin specifically, and this just makes it a lot more safer, and kind of brings the whole makes the industry more mature and makes people more comfortable with crypto in general. It's less of a wild west, and yeah, I think banks will become more and more comfortable with crypto over time, and we'll start to see banks um, securing cryptocurrencies. I mean, we do see some of that in Europe, I think, but not much in the U.S. currently. But I do see that changing in
Yep.
the future.
Awesome. I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the technologies. It's about how we mature them, and everything has its own cycle of evolution. So I'm really, and we are really glad to see the progress that's happening. So saying that, I will touch base a little bit on liquid capital. So we are using definitely leveraging the blockchain for the blockchain based smart contracts, which we believe definitely is giving us a much more secured way of managing information. And also, I know you talked about getting hacked and others. So there's ways you can protect yourself depending on what kind of assets you're trading. That it could be walled garden marketplace, or you can even do in a private blockchain if you can make investments and whatnot. So obviously, we are not going for a private blockchain, but we are making it walled garden. and we are taking the advantage of both Web 2, Web 3, the best technologies, and the quite a bit of AI native reg tech in the process to make our entire platform. So you are the first investor in in Liquid Capital, and and as also an advisor. So how do you see the way we are approaching this mesh of technologies to offer what we are offering, and your take on it?
Yeah, I think like digital securities is going to be huge. It's I mean blockchain is great for securing tokenization of stuff, right? So we started seeing a lot of it 4, 5, 6 years ago with ICOs,
Yeah.
right? It's kind of the Wild West where it kickstarted the whole tokenization of anything. Um, but we kind of seeing more and more maturity of that space, bringing it back to real world assets that are actually valuable, right? Not just random tokens that really don't represent anything. So having that being kind of secured and backed by a blockchain is kind of the future, right? So yeah, so I think we'll start seeing more and more digital securities on the blockchain and having a platform exchange doing tokenization and selling and letting people trade on securities is kind of going to be very big in the future.
Yep. Thank you so much. I mean, absolutely, we do see that, and we appreciate your views on this. So one last item I want to touch on. There's quite a bit of uh, writings, talks that's going on around decentralized AI. So we talked about DeFi a little bit. So how do you see the decentralized AI coming into this space, and its evolution in in next few years or so?
Interesting you mentioned that because this is one of the things I talked about. If I remember correctly, I mentioned AI and Bitcoin way back in 2015, I think, at a talk at the MIT Bitcoin Expo. Um, Back then, people weren't talking about AI at all, but I didn't mention it. I thought that Bitcoin and blockchain is kind of the last thing that's needed for AI to truly take off. Um, because for true AI to work, it needs to be able to manage resources, right? It needs to be able to pay for stuff. And without digital currency, there's no way for artificial intelligence to have a bank account, right? It'll be next to impossible for them for AI to create a bank account and use money. But with Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, it makes it possible for AI to earn money in Bitcoin, to spend money, to upgrade its own hardware, and to actually survive and do stuff in the real world. So I think in that sense, Bitcoin and blockchain is what makes real powerful AI possible.
That's definitely very intriguing, and we are in the early stage of it as we talk about this. And there's a lot of not a lot of, there's quite a bit of an adoption in AI in every single verticals of our life right now.
What are
And
you guys doing with AI at Liquid Capital?
we are focusing on the reg tech part in the AI native. So that's the core engine for us, as you understand, because to qualify any of these private funds, there's quite a bit of a regulations that we have to go through to ensure that they're always compliant. And we've been initially trying to see that there's an easier way of doing this. Then we found that it is impossible because these fund documentations are very different from VCs to VCs or PEs to PEs. And with the manual scanning or even involving human resources from attorneys to your compliance folks to go over each document. It's going to be very, very time consuming. And at the same time, you have a potential of missing a lot of details and become, not being compliant very quickly. So to avoid that, we are doing an AI native RegTech platform so that we get this, we read about this and ensure in the real time that there's no gaps in our compliance so that these fund securities can be qualified to be traded. So that's the first usage of that, and there bit of usage on AI later part when we grow further.
Hmm.
So how do you, do you see that and it's the right approach we're doing, or is there any other suggestions you may have, for our users to learn and how this entire industry, the compliance regulations and financial services are actually growing using these new technologies?
I'm not an expert in AI, but it seems like, um, what you're doing is a great use of it, where you're basically throwing a lot of data at it. AI is just good for crunching a lot of data and coming up with a right approach.
Right.
It's not perfect. Obviously, it needs some work to give you the right result. But it's great at doing that. And we're seeing a lot of people use AI for that kind of specific work. So I think it's very interesting.
Yes, and we are seeing there's quite a bit of usage on AI and compliance and regulations starting right now. But at the same time, as you mentioned, the data, um, or even in the real-time analysis of these things, are not readily available. And if we have to do a dynamic marketplace, then we cannot be getting to a situation that, oh, I found this and I'm going to get back to this in 2 days, 3 days. Uh, then it's really not then a full marketplace, right? So yeah, definitely that's where we want to get it to. And again, as we've been talking to the entire episode, it's an evolution where we are with use usage of these technologies. Um, so yeah, this is very, very exciting, and thanks for your time, and it's a pleasure and an honor to have you here. Do you have any last words you want to say for our listeners?
Um, no, not particularly. I think this space is very exciting. There's just a lot of stuff going on. Um, like what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis has pretty much nothing to do with what you guys are doing on a day-to-day basis. Because I'm focused on like payments and Litecoin and blockchain and stuff, and you guys are focused on like decentralized securities platform and AI and stuff. But like we're all using blockchain
Yes.
technology, and there's just a lot of stuff going on in this space, so it's very exciting.
Yeah. Thank you so much. So thank you so much, Charlie, for your time. So in conclusion, the evolution of digital securities and Web3 is beginning to have a tangible impact on the financial services. We are seeing bigger banks, bigger financial services are adopting these technologies, and Liquid Capital is also getting into this, leveraging these technologies for continuous liquidity to the private markets and the private assets. So to that environment, as you have seen, it's a reduction of fund exits, and the illiquidity in the private markets are immense. So we hope to solve that problem using the technologies in an innovative way, in a compliant way, and in a secured way. So hope you find this episode of Liquidity Matter insightful. I'd like to thank you, Charlie, again. Thanks for your time, and we shall see you again. Thank you. Bye.
Yep, thanks, Zubair.